The alien salvage ship Lucky Find drifted through the darkness of deep space, its sensors sweeping the void for anything of value. Commander Axe stood on the bridge, his four eyes fixed on the main view screen while his crew worked at their stations. They had been searching this sector for 3 days, and so far, they had found nothing but space debris. "Commander," the sensor operator's voice carried a note of excitement. "Large object detected at bearing 047. It's huge." Axe moved to the sensor station, his tall frame casting a shadow over the glowing displays. "Show me," he ordered, his mandibles clicking with interest. The main screen flickered to life, revealing a massive shape floating against the backdrop of distant stars. As the ship's external lights illuminated the object, the crew fell silent. It was a warship, but unlike any they had seen before. Its hull was dark and scarred, with visible plates of armor that looked crude and outdated by their standards. "It's a human vessel," the science officer reported, her scales shimmering under the bridge lights. "Design matches their military specifications from 50 Earth years ago. Strange to find one out here." Commander Axe laughed, the sound echoing across the bridge. Humans, always clinging to their outdated technology. He zoomed in on the ship's name painted across its hull, HMS Relic. Even the name speaks of its obsolescence. The Lucky Find moved closer, its scanning beams probing the ancient warship. It was massive, nearly twice the length of their salvage vessel. Despite its size, the human ship looked dead, with no running lights or signs of power. "Life signs?" Axe asked, already planning how to strip this prize for valuable materials. The sensor operator adjusted his instruments. "1. Very faint. Some kind of preservation chamber. Cryosleep pod, by the readings. But these energy readings, they're strange. Our sensors can't make sense of them. Probably radiation from their primitive reactor." Axe dismissed the concern with a wave of his upper arm. "Prepare the boarding teams. That much metal will fetch a good price, even if it's just for scrap." The boarding teams assembled in their sleek environmental suits, carrying the latest in cutting tools and salvage equipment. As they approached the human vessel in their shuttle, its true size became even more apparent. Despite its obvious age, there was something imposing about its silent bulk. "Team leader," Axe's voice crackled over the comm. "Before you begin cutting, check the preservation chamber. If there's a human alive in there, we'll need to follow protocol and report it. Though I doubt anything could survive this long in such primitive equipment." The boarding team entered through a maintenance airlock, their helmet lights cutting through the darkness inside. The ship's corridors were wide and angular, lacking the elegant curves of modern alien architecture. Their boots echoed on metal floors as they made their way deeper into the vessel. "This design is ancient," the team leader reported back. "Look at these manual controls. They still used physical switches and buttons. Primitives." They found the bridge, its large windows looking out into space. Unlike modern ships with their holographic displays, this one had physical screens and control panels. Everything was covered in a layer of dust. "Commander," one of the salvage team called out, "the energy readings are stronger here. They're pulsing." "Ignore it," Axe replied through the comm. "Find that preservation chamber and let's get to work. Time is money." The team moved through the ship, following their sensors to a sealed compartment deep within the vessel. Inside, they found a single cryopod, its surface frosted over. Through the clouded glass, they could barely make out the shape of a human figure. "Pod located," the team leader reported. "Life signs confirmed. The human is alive, but in deep hibernation." Commander Axe clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. "Very well. Mark it for the authorities. Begin salvage operations in the outer sections. We can strip everything except the life support systems maintaining the pod." As the salvage teams prepared their cutting tools, none of them noticed the subtle changes in the ship around them. Deep within its systems, sensors that had laid dormant for years began to wake. In the cryopod, the human's vital signs started to shift ever so slightly. The HMS Relic wasn't as dead as they thought, and they were about to learn why humans had survived as long as they had in a galaxy that thought them primitive. The salvage team's cutting tools sparked against the Relic's outer hull, sending bright flashes through the darkness of space. Inside the ship, their companions continued mapping out the vessel's layout, marking valuable sections for removal. "This metal is tougher than it looks," the team leader reported, adjusting his cutting beam's power. "Taking longer than expected to get through." Commander Axe's voice came through their comms, tinged with annoyance. "Just increase the power. That primitive armor can't possibly." A sudden vibration ran through the ship, cutting him off. The salvage team's tools sparked and died. "What happened?" Axe demanded. "Our tools. They just stopped working," the team leader replied, checking his equipment. Some kind of power surge from the ship. Deep within the Relic's hull, ancient systems stirred to life. The salvage team's attempts to cut through the outer plating had triggered something. Emergency protocols, dormant for years, began their activation sequence. In the cryo chamber, frost began melting from the pod's surface. Lights flickered on, casting a soft blue glow across the room. A gentle hum filled the air as life support systems powered up. "Commander." The science officer's voice was urgent. "Energy readings are spiking throughout the vessel. It's waking up." The salvage team inside the ship froze as a calm, feminine voice echoed through the corridors. "Emergency Protocol Alpha initiated. Hostile boarding action detected. Beginning revival sequence for Command Officer." "What's happening?" Axe demanded, all four eyes fixed on his sensor displays. Before anyone could answer, every screen on the Lucky Find flickered. A simple text message appeared. "Castle Defense System online." In the cryo chamber, the alien team watched in fascination and growing concern as the pod systems accelerated their activation sequence. The human inside began to show stronger life signs. "Should we shut it down?" one of the team members asked nervously. "Our tools aren't working," another replied. "I don't think we can." The ship's voice spoke again. "Warning. Unauthorized personnel detected in critical areas. Please remain still to avoid activation of automated defense systems." Commander Axe clicked his mandibles in frustration. "It's just an automated message. These human systems are basic. Override it." The science officer tried, her fingers dancing across her console. "Sir, I can't. Their computer system isn't responding to any of our override attempts. It's like it's learning and adapting to each try." Inside the Relic, more systems came online. Lights began glowing in the corridors, revealing details the salvage team had missed in their initial survey. What they had thought were simple decoration patterns on the walls began to pulse with a faint blue light. "Commander," the team leader's voice shook slightly. "I think we should leave. Something's not right here." "Nonsense," Axe snapped. "It's just an old human warship. Their technology is decades behind ours. Continue with the salvage." In the cryo chamber, the pod's surface was now completely clear of frost. Through the transparent cover, the alien team could see the human officer inside more clearly. He wore a simple black uniform with captain's insignia. His vital signs were getting stronger by the second. The ship's AI spoke again, but this time its tone seemed almost amused. "Final warning. Captain Reed's revival sequence is nearly complete. All unauthorized personnel are advised to vacate the vessel within the next 5 minutes." "Sir," the science officer called to Axe, "I'm detecting power signatures unlike anything in our database. They're not matching any known human technology." Commander Axe stood from his command chair, mandibles clicking rapidly in agitation. "Impossible. This ship is ancient. It can't." He was cut off as every light in the Relic suddenly blazed to full power. The previously dark and lifeless vessel now hummed with energy, its hull seeming to vibrate with contained power. In the cryo chamber, Captain Reed's eyes snapped open. The Relic had awakened, and its captain was about to show these aliens exactly why humans had survived so long in a hostile galaxy. Captain Reed sat up slowly in his cryopod, his movements calm and deliberate. The aliens in the chamber backed away, their cutting tools held uselessly at their sides. Through the ship's internal sensors, he could see more salvage teams scattered throughout his vessel, all frozen in place as systems came online around them. "Castle," Reed spoke, his voice rough from disuse. "Status report." The AI's voice was crisp and professional. "Welcome back, Captain. Ship's systems are at 82% and rising. We have 12 unauthorized boarders inside the vessel and a salvage ship holding position off our starboard side. They attempted to cut through our outer hull approximately 7 minutes ago." Reed nodded, standing smoothly from the pod. He was tall for a human, his black uniform still pristine after years in cryo-sleep. His gray eyes studied the aliens before him with calm interest. "I am Captain James Reed of the HMS Relic," he announced. "You're currently trespassing on a military vessel of the Human Space Command." On the Lucky Finds Bridge, Commander Axe watched the scene through his team's camera feeds. The human's composure was unsettling. There was none of the confusion or disorientation usually associated with cryo revival. "This is Commander Axe of the independent salvage vessel Lucky Find," he responded through the comm. "We found your ship drifting in unclaimed space. Under galactic law, we have salvage rights." "No," Reed interrupted simply. "You don't." He started walking toward the chamber's exit, the aliens parting before him. "Castle, bring up internal lighting to full. And let's give our guests a proper demonstration of our artificial gravity." The ship's gravity suddenly shifted, becoming noticeably stronger. The aliens stumbled, struggling to adjust to the increased weight. Reed walked on as if nothing had changed. "Impossible," the science officer whispered on the Lucky Finds Bridge. "They're supposed to use basic gravitational plates. This is full gravitational field manipulation." Reed reached the bridge of his ship, the salvage team members following nervously behind him. The formerly dark and lifeless command center now hummed with energy. Holographic displays sprang to life around him, far more advanced than anything the aliens had seen on their own vessels. "Your ship's designation indicates it's a 50-year-old model," Commander Axe said, trying to maintain his authority. "These systems shouldn't exist." Reed smiled slightly as he sat in his captain's chair. "Commander, has it occurred to you that maybe we wanted you to think that?" He gestured to the now glowing walls. "What you assumed was decorative paneling. Quantum computing circuits, those primitive manual controls, backup systems for our neural interfaces." The aliens watched in stunned silence as more systems revealed themselves. Sections of wall that had appeared solid became transparent, showing energy conduits pulsing with power. The angular, crude-looking hull plates outside began to shimmer as their true nature became apparent. "Sir," the Lucky Find science officer reported, "I'm detecting energy signatures that match no known technology. Their power output is, sir, it's higher than our entire ship's reactor." Reed leaned forward in his chair. Humanity learned long ago that looking primitive had its advantages. Other races underestimate us, ignore us, or try to salvage our ships. His expression hardened slightly. It usually ends poorly for them. "Castle," he continued, "show them why we named you after Earth's strongest fortresses." The AI's response held a note of satisfaction. "With pleasure, Captain." Around the ship, panels slid back to reveal weapon ports that had been invisible moments before. Inside the vessel, the quantum computing circuits in the walls pulsed faster, their blue glow intensifying. The entire ship seemed to come alive, transforming from an apparent relic into something far more dangerous. Commander Axe's mandibles clicked rapidly as he watched his sensors light up with warnings. The primitive human warship had suddenly become the most powerful vessel in the sector, and they were at its mercy. The name Relic glowed on the ship's hull, but now it seemed to shimmer with an inner light that hadn't been visible before. Commander Axe stared at his sensor readings in disbelief as layers of technology revealed themselves throughout the vessel. "Captain Reed," Axe said, trying to keep his voice steady, "what exactly is this ship?" Reed's eyes moved across the holographic displays floating around his command chair. "Castle, show them our true designation." The ship's AI responded by projecting a large hologram in the center of the bridge. It showed the Relic's official designation, HMS Relic, Advanced Warfare Platform, Project Trojan Horse. 10 years ago, Reed began, humanity realized we had a problem. Other races kept stealing our technology, thinking it primitive, then improving upon it. So we decided to try something different. He stood and walked to the hologram. We built our most advanced ships to look outdated. The hologram changed, showing the Relic's true specifications. The alien salvage team members on the bridge backed away from the display, their eyes wide with shock. "Those energy readings you couldn't identify," Reed continued. "Quantum fold reactors. The hull you tried to cut through. Adaptive nanomaterial that learns from every attack. The simple computer systems you tried to hack. Actually a quantum AI that's been playing with you like a cat with a mouse." Commander Axe's mandibles clicked rapidly. "Impossible. Your species was barely achieving stable fusion when we first encountered you." Reed smiled. "That's what we wanted everyone to think. While other races focused on building bigger ships and more powerful weapons, we worked on something different, something nobody would expect." The hologram shifted again, showing historical footage. It revealed other alien salvage crews throughout the years, approaching seemingly abandoned human ships. Each time, the ships came alive, revealing technology far beyond what anyone believed humans capable of creating. "Humans have always been good at one thing," Reed said, walking to the main viewport. "Surviving. We learned early that sometimes the best way to survive is to be underestimated." Castle's voice added, "The Relic-class vessels were specifically designed to be found by salvage crews. We are honey traps, Commander Axe. Very sophisticated, very dangerous honey traps." On the Lucky Finds bridge, the science officer's scales had paled to a lighter shade. "Sir, I'm detecting technology that shouldn't exist for another century according to our development models. Their quantum computing capabilities alone are beyond your comprehension." Reed finished for her. "That was the point. While other races built their ships to look impressive, we built ours to look worthless. While they showed off their technology, we hid ours." The hologram changed one final time, showing a map of human space. Dozens of dots appeared, each representing an abandoned ship like the Relic. "We knew someone would always try to take advantage of what they saw as primitive human technology," Reed explained. "So we made sure what they found would teach them a lesson. Every salvage crew that's tried to strip a ship like this has spread the word. Leave human vessels alone." Commander Axe finally understood. The Relic wasn't just a ship, it was a message, a warning to any race that thought humans were easy targets. "The best place to hide advanced technology," Reed said, sitting back in his command chair, "is inside something everyone thinks is obsolete. Now, Commander, would you like to see what this primitive vessel can really do?" Around them, the Relic systems continued to power up. What had appeared to be simple metal walls now pulsed with energy. The bridge itself seemed alive, responding to Reed's thoughts through neural interfaces that had been invisible moments before. The salvage team realized they hadn't found a helpless relic of the past. They had awakened humanity's most advanced warship, disguised as its most primitive. And they were about to learn exactly why that was a terrible mistake. Captain Reed stood from his command chair, his movements unhurried and deliberate. "Commander Axe, I'm giving you one chance to withdraw your salvage teams and leave. We don't need to escalate this situation." Axe's laughter crackled through the communication system, but there was a nervous edge to it. "You're still outnumbered. My ship carries a full complement of modern weapons, and your vessel, no matter how disguised, is still just one ship. Numbers," Reed said quietly, "aren't everything." Castle, initiate Defense Protocol Alpha. Let's show them what a primitive human ship can do. The Relic's response was immediate and impressive. The hull plates that the aliens had tried to cut through suddenly shifted, the nanomaterials flowing like liquid metal. The scratches and scorch marks from their cutting tools disappeared as the hull repaired itself. "Sir," the Lucky Finds weapons officer called out in alarm. "Their hull, it's not just repairing itself. It's adapting. Our scan shows it's developing specific resistance to our cutting tools." Reed nodded. "The more you try to damage this ship, the stronger it becomes. Every attack teaches our systems how to defend against it. Now, about those modern weapons you mentioned." He made a simple gesture, and holographic displays showed every weapon system on the Lucky Find. The alien crew gasped. Their stealth systems should have hidden those details. "Castle," Reed commanded, "disable their weapons. Gentle demonstration, please." "Of course, Captain," the AI responded, initiating non-destructive countermeasures. A soft blue pulse emanated from the Relic's hull. When it passed over the Lucky Find, every weapon system on the alien vessel went dark. "Impossible," Commander Axe shouted. "Our shields." "Your shields," Reed interrupted, "are based on technology that we deliberately leaked 50 years ago. Did you really think we'd give away our best defenses?" The salvage team members still on the Relic's bridge watched in awe as more systems revealed themselves. What had looked like simple support beams began glowing with strange energy. The floor beneath their feet hummed with power that their sensors couldn't even classify. "Perhaps a more visual demonstration," Reed suggested. "Castle, show them the quantum fold drive." The space around the Relic began to distort. In an instant, the massive warship vanished, reappearing behind the Lucky Find. "That's not possible," the alien science officer whispered. "The energy requirements alone would be impossible with standard fusion reactors," Reed finished for her. "Good thing we haven't used those in decades." The Relic vanished again, this time appearing directly above the alien vessel, then to the left, then below. Each jump was instant, without any sign of traditional engine power. "What you're seeing," Reed explained, "is just a fraction of our capability. This ship doesn't just have weapons, it can rewrite the laws of physics in its immediate vicinity." To prove his point, he gestured at the cutting tools the salvage team still held. The metal tools suddenly lost all solidity, flowing like water before reforming as simple spheres. "Matter manipulation at the quantum level," Reed said. "Useful for both defense and other applications." Commander Axe's voice had lost all its previous arrogance. "The energy readings we're detecting, they're beyond anything in our records." "That's the point, Commander. Humanity learned long ago that the best way to survive wasn't to show off our power, but to hide it until necessary." Reed returned to his chair. "Now, would you like to see what this ship can do when we're not being gentle?" The alien crew members on both ships watched in stunned silence as the Relic systems continued to power up. What they had dismissed as an obsolete warship now held their lives in its hands, and they were finally beginning to understand just how badly they had underestimated humanity. The Lucky Find hung motionless in space, its weapons disabled and its crew watching in stunned silence as the Relic demonstrated more of its capabilities. Captain Reed had made his point about the ship's power, but he wasn't finished with the lesson. "Castle," Reed said calmly, "show them the historical records. Let them understand why we built ships like this." The AI projected a series of images in the air, scenes from humanity's early days in space. Alien ships attacking human colonies, salvage crews stripping human vessels, raiders thinking they'd found easy targets. 50 years ago, Reed explained, humanity was seen as easy prey. Everyone thought they could take what they wanted from us. He stood, walking through the holographic images. "So we adapted. We learned. We evolved." Commander Axe watched through the video feed as each image showed humanity's gradual change in strategy. You let everyone think you were weak. We did more than that," Reed replied. We encouraged it. Every time someone attacked us, we appeared to barely fight back. Every time someone stole our technology, we acted helpless. He smiled. All while building ships like this. The Relic's hull suddenly became transparent, revealing layer after layer of technology that had been hidden beneath its seemingly primitive exterior. Quantum computers pulsed with light. Energy conduits that shouldn't have been possible curved through impossible spaces. Sir, the lucky fine science officer called out. The ship, it's not just one vessel. It's like many ships existing in the same space. Quantum folding, Reed confirmed. The Relic exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously. What you see is just the part we allow to interact with normal space. To demonstrate, sections of the ship began shifting in and out of reality. The salvage team members still aboard watched in awe as corridors extended into spaces that shouldn't exist, revealing weapons and technology that defied their understanding. The last war, Reed continued, taught us that showing off your strength just makes you a target, but appearing weak while being strong. He gestured, and every system on the Lucky Find suddenly came under the Relic's control. That gives you an advantage. Commander Axe's mandibles clicked rapidly as he realized the full extent of their situation. You could have destroyed us at any time. We could have destroyed you before you even noticed us, Reed corrected. But that's not why we're here. The Relic and ships like her serve a greater purpose. We're teachers. Teachers, one of the salvage team members asked. Yes, Reed said, turning to face them. We teach a very important lesson about humanity. Underestimate us at your own risk. To emphasize his point, he had Castle display the true extent of human space on a holographic map. Hidden stations, cloaked fleets, and quantum-folded facilities appeared, all invisible to conventional sensors, all far more advanced than anyone had believed possible. Your entire salvage fleet, Reed noted, looking at Axe, has been inside our defense grid for the past 3 days. You never noticed because you weren't looking for advanced technology in what you thought was empty space. The aliens finally understood. They hadn't found an obsolete warship. They had triggered a carefully laid trap designed to teach them about humanity's true nature. So, Reed said, sitting back in his command chair, let's discuss what happens next. And more importantly, what message you'll be taking back to others who might think about salvaging human ships. The Relic hummed with barely contained power, its true nature now fully revealed. It wasn't just a warship disguised as a relic. It was humanity's declaration that they were done being underestimated. Commander Axe stood on his bridge, all 4 eyes fixed on Captain Reed's image on the main screen. The human's calm confidence was a stark contrast to the commander's earlier arrogance. By all rights, Reed said, I could claim your ship as salvage. Poetic justice, wouldn't you say? He let the words hang in the air for a moment before continuing. But that's not how humanity works. Not anymore. The Relic's weapons ports began to close, its hull shifting back to its deceptively primitive appearance. The quantum fold drive powered down, and the ship's intimidating display of power gradually faded. You're letting us go? Axe asked, mandibles clicking in confusion. With conditions, Reed replied, Castle, prepare the data package. The AI's voice echoed through both ships. Data package ready, Captain, including full sensor logs of our demonstration and historical records of similar encounters. Reed leaned forward in his command chair. You're going to take this information back to your people. Share it. Let everyone know what happens when they try to salvage human ships. He smiled slightly. Let them know that every abandoned human vessel they find might be another relic. The salvage team members were escorted back to their shuttle by corridors that once again appeared simple and outdated. But now they understood. Everything they saw was a carefully crafted illusion. I don't understand, one of them said to Reed. Why show us all this? Why not just destroy us when we first approach? Because humanity has evolved beyond simple revenge, Reed explained. We learned that the best victory isn't destroying your enemy. It's turning them into an ally. Commander Axe received the data package from Castle. As he reviewed it, his scales paled. There were dozens of encounters like theirs documented. Other salvage crews, raiders, and even military vessels that had discovered the truth about humanity's apparent weakness. Your ships, Axe said slowly, they're everywhere. Disguised as derelicts and outdated vessels. Reed nodded. The galaxy is filled with human ships that appear to be easy targets. Each one is a reminder. Judge by appearances at your own risk. The Lucky Find's engines came back online as the Relic released its control of their systems. The alien crew watched in amazement as the massive warship seemed to age before their eyes, its hull once again appearing scared and primitive. Remember this day, Reed said as the salvage ship prepared to leave. Remember that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. He gestured to his ship. It's our ability to be underestimated and use that to our advantage. As the Lucky Find moved away, its crew caught one final glimpse of the Relic through their view screen. The seemingly ancient warship sat quietly in space, looking every bit like the outdated vessel they had first discovered. "Sir," the science officer said to Axe, "our long-range sensors are detecting something unusual." The screen showed dozens of similar readings throughout nearby sectors, energy signatures that matched the Relics, but so well hidden they had never noticed them before. "They've been watching us all along," Axe realized. "Every primitive human ship we've passed could have been another Relic." Reed's voice came through one final time. "Safe travels, Commander. And remember, sometimes the most dangerous predator is the one that doesn't look dangerous at all." The Relic powered up its quantum fold drive one last time, disappearing in a flash of light that defied physics. It left behind a changed group of aliens who now understood a fundamental truth about humanity. Their apparent weakness was their greatest deception, and their outdated technology their most advanced disguise. Commander Axe gave the order to return home, knowing the message they carried would change how the galaxy viewed humanity forever. The age of underestimating humans was over. The age of wondering what other secrets they were hiding had begun.